Hey, what's up everybody? Anbraxas here. Welcome to the video. This is going to be a video about Age of Wushu. A little bit different than what I normally do. I typically do not do reviews or first look at games, but I really felt like this one had some merit to it, and I really wanted to talk a little bit about it, because I really do think it's going to be a pretty large game, even here in the West. I mean, it's a huge game over in China where it was developed. Over there it's called Age of Wulin, over here it's called Age of Wushu. And this MMO, because it's a free-to-play MMO, is just a little bit different than most MMOs you've probably played in the last few years. It's not your typical theme park sandbox MMO in the respect of, okay, now it's time to go ahead and level up to max level and start doing some raiding and PvP. It's kind of, I guess, like a life simulator in a way. Yes, it's a martial arts type game. You're going to be leveling up, your kung fu skills, your weapon skills, stuff like that. And I'll be talking about that here in just a few minutes. But when you really break this down, this game has the same kind of depth that we haven't seen since probably EVE Online. Everything in this game is completely driven by the players. In fact, the NPCs hardly offer you anything to start with. As you can see here, I'm actually in the starting town. Now, I've already been out and about for a little while, so I'm a little overpowered for this area. So if I show you anything and I pretty much one-shot it, just keep in mind I've already been out in the world, and that's mainly because this game, it's really easy to get lost in. That's part of the reason I'm actually making this video, as it is so ridiculously easy to get lost that people need a place to start, learning how to play. But to go back to what I was saying earlier, it's kind of like EVE Online, where everything's being driven by the players, the economy, the whole 9 yards. The only thing that isn't being driven by players is the system they call teals, which is currency that basically has to be bought and paid for with real money. And you do get some fairly good deals. Like for 15 bucks, it gives you, quite a bit of this in-game currency. And then there's like the free-to-play currency, which you can use on vendors, etc. But most players won't accept it if you're trying to do any kind of transactions with them. Say they've crafted up some items that you would like. They typically won't actually take the in-game currency for those items, or if they do, it's going to be a ridiculously high price. But this MMO is a little bit different than most because your character never goes offline. You might log out for the night, but your character actually persists in the world. And as we walk around town here, you're going to be able to see who's actually a vendor and who's actually a player. For an example, everything in green, those are vendors that were put into the game. These are the typical citizens that you'll find in a city. However, you don't know how many of these people are actually here or not. If they're here, you'll see like this guy here, Jason Brody, Far Cry reference there. Alright, so Jason Brody here is actually playing the game. He's in right now because he doesn't have anything above his head, but let's see if I can find someone. Okay. For example, these guys are actually offline. As you can see, they've been given a title, Boosker. I'm not entirely sure what that is. In my apologies, I haven't done too much research on this game because it is an MMO, and it came out on the 10th. And no matter how long I played it, I could probably play it for 2 months. And there's just so much information to cover, I wouldn't be able to do it. But as you can see, like these guys, they're actually NPCs at the moment. They're offline, but, some of these people, maybe they paid for VIP access. When they're offline, their characters will set up shops and stuff so they can make money offline. They'll continue to cultivate their skills offline. And basically towns that are essentially ghost towns, because there's really not a lot of NPCs. And most of the NPCs don't do anything. For an example, this guy. Oh, well, I guess I can get some gossip from him, but, these guys, they don't really do anything. They don't sell anything that's worthwhile. I mean, you've got all kinds of stuff. Here we go. Vaden here. He's a patrol officer right now. He's been offline. This person's offline, and they're a beggar currently. And if I remember right, I can click on them and give them money. I'm not really sure how to do that. But, that's a pretty interesting aspect, something you don't really ever see in MMOs. is where they've set up all these towns, and basically at the end of the day, they're all going to get to be player run. So what I'd like to show you next is a few more offline players who actually do have shops set up, and I can actually show you that functionality, because this is pretty darn cool. And when they're offline, the game will actually have like scripts they can set up ahead of time. So every once in a while, these guys are going to shout like, "I've got cheap potions over here," to try to get your attention. You come up and talk to them, and as I said, they're charging 3 liang or 600 win for some items. Now, this is the currency that you have to pay for, so they're trying to make money that way, and eventually, the more people that buy currency in the game, the more the economy is going to get driven up, because once this currency is in the game, it's not like most games where you're going to spend that currency and it's going to disappear into an NPC. No, it's just going to be traded amongst the player community. If you think about EVE Online, what I do believe they call it ISK, most ISK doesn't necessarily come from vendors or disappear into vendors. It's mostly circulated around the player base. So I think this is a really radical idea. The fact that you can go offline and set up shops and make some money while you're offline. Everyone's got their own professions and stuff like that. We'll get into that eventually. I'm not even sure I'm actually going to cover it this video, because there's literally so much stuff to cover. So when you break the game down into its basic components, though, it doesn't quite work like other MMOs where I'm trying to achieve a level of some kind. What they have is, skills. As you can see here, like I've got my double sword slash, which I'm not actually supposed to have because I'm supposed to be using a hidden claw. You'll figure this stuff out once you get into the game, when you get into certain schools and stuff, that there's actually, certain abilities. We got like barehanded sets, hidden weapon sets. This is the one I'm actually supposed to be using. Like I got this up to level 2. I leveled that up. And it's through cultivation, and you will get more cultivation points than you can freaking spend. Like what? I have, what is this? 193,000 cultivation points. And to cultivate, let's just see, 59,000 points to cultivate that up. Pretty freaking wicked. I actually want to switch back to what I was doing. You have, weapon skill, stuff like that you're going to level up over time. And then you've got, like, different schools. And we'll cover that in some other video where I actually talk about the schools. But you cultivate those skills up. And they have different methods of cultivation. You can literally stand there and practice martial arts. Say you're going to go away for a while, like maybe an hour or two. You're going to go somewhere and you want to leave your computer running. You can practice martial arts, and it gives you a slightly increased rate for how quickly you're going to cultivate that skill to the next level. On the other hand, you could actually get 10 people together, and it basically brings up like a little DDR game where everyone's going to have to hit keys in a certain order. And it's a really rapid way of everyone leveling their skills up. It's highly advised that you do the team practice. Meanwhile, while you're just playing the game, you could do internal cultivation, where it's going to cultivate itself just while you're playing in the game. So, for an example, now this is going to go up to the next level, level 6, in 1 hour and 57 minutes. I can just continue to play and do whatever. Now, I want you to keep in mind, I'm a free-to-play player right now. I am actually considering investing in the game and actually playing this one because it's really, really interesting. But there's so much stuff to do. I mean, there's multiple schools, there's multiple storylines, and unfortunately you're locked down to one character. So each character at the end of the day is going to be pretty unique. You got to think typical Chinese like movies and stuff like that, kung fu movies. You've got characters that can actually fly around and stuff like that. They dive into the mystical side of things pretty deep. That's pretty darn cool. But anyhow, there's way too much stuff for me to talk about in one video, and I would love to do more of these videos. I'm just a super busy person. However, I would like to show people who want to get into the game an easy way of getting started. And I wish I had known this off the bat, because I literally fumbled around for 2 days, just like screwing everything up, slowing my own progression down. So the UI in this game's pretty ridiculous. When you actually have everything activated, it looks very cluttered. Now I'm running on a 1360 by 768 resolution, so I don't think they actually optimized the interface for my particular resolution. And of course, they have gold spammers. They need to get more game masters in here to take care of this kind of stuff. You know, with the confusing UI, the way they actually have quests and stuff like that set up, it gets ridiculously confusing and it's super easy to get lost. So here is my suggestion for you guys. When you get into the game, go over here to your minimap, click this book. Now you're going to see I have a bunch of different things open right now, and some of it's complete and some of it's not. That's literally because if you think, you know, World of Warcraft style, I literally decided I'm not doing the starter area, and I went off and started killing mobs and questing in different parts of the zone and only be able to pick up like 1 or 2 pieces of chain quest, etc. So you want to go ahead, open up your novice guide. This is probably going to get you somewhere upwards around, you know, some of your skills around level 20, I'd imagine. It's going to take you a couple of days to get through all this. But just open this book up and, you know, each one of these is going to bring you something different. It's going to teach you about the game. You know, while you're running through this book, I really suggest that you read stuff. I know people hate doing that in MMOs, but you are going to be lost if you don't read. So I want to show you an example of how this works. So let's see, around the world. This is the one I'm currently working on. I'm going back to actually do all the stuff that I missed earlier. So we're just going to go to random encounter here, and this game has some really cool mechanics. Not only are they going to walk you through the quest on like how to get started in the game, but you know, with the way that players are, you know, crowding up cities, the UI really is pretty sloppy. You know, if you think Chinese characters, it probably looks pretty good. You throw it into the American alphabet and stuff spills all over everything else. It's super hard to find NPCs. So they put in an auto path finding system, which is super nice. So as you can see there, I just like clicked in my quest book. It's taking me to wherever this fellow is. I can check my map to see where it's taking me at the martial arts school. All right. So it's just going to auto run me over there. I'm going to work my way through this quest just so you can get an idea of what's going on here. Because like I said, the UI is super confusing. That book is your best friend. Use the crap out of that thing. And you'll do pretty good, because I'm going to tell you exactly what happens if you don't use that book. You're not going to do all the quests you're supposed to. You're going to pick up random quests where it's going to be like, hey, can you take this note to this guy, etc. It's not going to be chained together like it was supposed to, and you're going to end up poor. Like I've got 116 Liang right now and 384 Wen. That's kind of like the in-game currency if you want to think about it as gold to silver kind of thing. Basically, I literally had nothing, no money, and that was only because I wasn't following the quest. If you follow the quest, it will give you gear, it will give you money, and you'll be just fine. You'll have plenty of money to do everything you need to. If you don't follow the guide, you will literally start running into stuff like, I want to become a blacksmith, I need to craft myself a better weapon, and you won't have the money to even do that. Follow the darn book. So let's see if I can actually talk to this fellow. Oh wait, no, he's inside here. So we're just gonna go inside here. I guess, did this work? Am I missing something? Oh, by the way, my character is starving because I haven't eaten anything, and I'll be completely honest with you here, I don't know where to go get food. Apparently it needs to be made by players. Players really haven't picked up on that yet, so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, where I can't find any players actually selling food, so I need to actually go pick up the skill to learn how to cook, to make food. Let me just talk really briefly about the skills, and I think that's going to wrap it up for this first video, because it's already getting pretty long, and there's, like I said, ridiculous amount of stuff in this game to cover. It's a super in-depth game, and it's really fun, and I highly suggest you check it out. Let's go ahead and take a look at the skills. The martial arts, one moment, skill record, nope, not skill record, school, trade, mission, shop, settings. One moment, guys, I've got this, I'll figure it out. Okay, it's not that one. Okay. I'm not sure how many different professions you're allowed to have, but currently my guy is a miner and he is a blacksmith. So I can mine up my own ore and smith my own weapons. And you would think, oh, well, that's perfectly fine. It's just like any other MMO. It's not. You got to thank EVE Online. Okay, so I'm going to be a blacksmith and a miner. Now, I'm not sure how many different professions you're allowed to have. Maybe you can have all of them, maybe not. I haven't figured that out yet. But literally, you'll go to blacksmith stuff and it'll be like, oh, well, you need some wood stocks for the weapons. You need to find someone who's a woodcutter in the game. And it'll give you a list of players who are currently woodcutters so you can send them a message. It's that in depth, where if you're going to craft something, you literally need the help of like 3 or 4 people. So we're talking about a pretty in-depth economy overall. I think this game's going to be pretty ridiculous. I think once people catch on to what Age of Wushu is, and they really get into it and get situated, I think it's going to be a really, really successful free-to-play MMO for the Western market. So if you'd like to check out Age of Wushu, I've got a link in the description of the video here. It's a Play Now link. You can go ahead and click that. It's a free-to-play game. You can sign up and start playing today. Like I said, guys, use this little question mark book up here in the corner. It will save your life. It will save you so much hassle if you just use that book. Anyhow, I'm Anbraxas, and I'll catch you later.